Something I've been noticing recently is people putting me on unnecessary pedestals. Now, I say this because I've had too many conversations recently where people think or deem me as so different than they are, as if I have no idea what they're going through. I have no clue, their reality, whatever the case may be. And then when they actually sit and have a real conversation with me, they learn that I go through the same shit everybody else goes through on a day-to-day basis. However, I just don't show it in the way that most people would, and they perceive it as perfect when it's far from the truth. The only reason I'm able to speak on certain things and have the confidence to say it out loud is because I had to go through it. I wouldn't speak on creativity if I wasn't a creative. I wouldn't speak on love if I wasn't a person who loved extremely and has also been broken extremely by love. I wouldn't talk about, self-care, entrepreneur. I wouldn't talk about certain shit if I didn't go through it. And when I went through it, I didn't have, a hand right there guiding me through all of the problems. A lot of things I had to really sit down and figure out and piece up information from the various different places I could get it from to come to a final conclusion for myself. And I don't want other people to have to go through a dark tunnel that I've already walked through. If I can get people to understand that, not even if, when I get people to understand that, it's going to bring so much ease, not even ease, but peace to this. And it's weird too, because I get called, weird, corny, all this other type of bullshit, right? Which is okay, because, I can see their perspective on why they would think it's weird or corny. But I've noticed I always end up around individuals who need to hear what I say. Whether they like it or not, whether they agree, whether they feel as if I'm talking out my ass, whether I'm triggering the fuck out of you. Literally right now as I'm speaking, I was meant to trigger the fuck out of you. And it's caused me to disconnect from so many ways, because naturally I'm very emotional, very loving, and naturally I want to include my very loving and sensitive nature into everything I do. But content creation is somewhat forcing me to remove my emotions from it, to serve the purpose, say what I need to say, do what I need to do, get it out there, and then forget about it. I can't have an emotional connection to it at all, because the world is too judgmental. The moment you start doing something on social media or the internet, you have to release all type of care of what the world thinks, because you're going to open yourself up to so much judgment that it's insane. And with enough bad criticism, if you don't have a proper foundation, that causes a lot of people to silence themselves. A lot of people want to be on social media. A lot of people want to be influencers, YouTubers, whatever the case may be, just really be in the spotlight. But they've had an experience where the internet has just bullied them. And something that they were doing that would have literally brought them fulfillment was stopped based upon the egotistical society. And that's something I'm learning. I can put out this video and really put out my heart into a piece of content, hoping that it betters somebody else, and then everybody laughs at it. That doesn't mean that my purpose was not fulfilled, and that does not mean that it was not served, because more chances than not, the same people who laugh at you, the same people who talk about you, the same people who disregard you, are also the same people who take inspiration from you behind closed doors but don't tell you anything. And that's why it's kind of like a battle with yourself, because when you're following in purpose, a lot of the times people either aren't going to understand you, they aren't going to care, or they're going to purposely try putting you down. And especially once you start making some type of progression in whatever you're doing, the amount of critics you get is also going to go up. And that pressure, let alone, is put there purposely to prevent you from continuously climbing the ranks. It's like climbing Mount Everest. The higher you go, the less oxygen you're going to get. That's on purpose. You need to get your ass back down to where you can breathe. But if you can deal with the comfortability of not having as much oxygen at a higher altitude, you will eventually fight your way to the top and be able to get your way back out to the bottom. But if you were climbing Mount Everest and the moment you realized there was a little bit less oxygen, you turned around, you would have never been able to get to the top of Mount Everest, because every step up, you were going to get less oxygen. And and that's why I think I'm kind of done giving people advice. I don't think I want to take on the responsibility of fixing the people who are also trying to destroy me. Now, what I will do is I will openly vent and be vulnerable and allow the people who have also gone through some sort of trauma, some sort of experience, some sort of whatever thought pattern, and allow them a space to come and feel normal, not feel as if they're indifferent, not feel as if they're going through something that nobody else is going through. I'm literally going to put myself on the table so whoever it is can see. I can see the good characteristics in him. I can see the bad characteristics in him. I can see all of his failures, and I can see all of his success. And through you seeing me put myself out there in the most authentic, vulnerable way possible, you pick up the little gems and the little things that I did that may help me, may help you too. Or you may see my fuck ups and learn from my fuck ups. It ties back to what I said at the beginning of the video. If I've walked through the tunnel, I don't want you to have to walk through it again. Skip it. I'm showing you what's inside of it. Don't waste your time in the tunnel. Go to the next one. And let's continue evolving. I know I'm not going to be the one who gatekeeps. And I'm still not like that. Gatekeeping's not in my blood. I don't do that. I don't know. I guess, just as I get older, it's humbling me in a weird way. And I don't like that word. So the fact that I'm using it is saying a lot. For instance, my birthday, right? I spent my birthday by myself, right? I spent my birthday giving to others, doing for others, and didn't really get celebrated. That was a humbling moment right there. But then in the midst of me forcing myself to do homework and, just sitting there in my solitude, I realized how blessed I was to even be able to have the free time to do what I was doing that day. It showed me how blessed I was to be sitting in the car I have. How blessed I am to have the connections I have, to have the opportunities I have, to have the bloodline I have. I'm soaked in blessings. So I don't really give a fuck about me being by myself. But it was very humbling because it was like, damn, I'm by myself. I did all of this. I've built all of this. I've grown. I've, purposely killed the toxic and bad sides of myself to still be by myself. That's a very big eye opener. When you're working on yourself for other people and then you do it and they still don't accept you, it's like, interesting. Well, I can't complain because I'm here now. So, I guess you were just fuel.